What's the end goal here? What do you do once you've tallied up your injuries?
The first part is just it brings you awareness. Be aware of how your body actually feels, because most of us are actively avoiding being inside our own body.
Welcome back to another episode of Past Your Prime, the podcast for active adults balancing training, rehab, family, and real life. I'm Alex Kiker, Spiker Kiker on IG. Give me a follow there. Father of two, pro volleyball player in disguise, and your co-host. I'm here with Craig Smith at Craig Smith PT on IG, the PT coach, life professional, critical thinker, who's trying to convince us all that we're not broken. We're just untracked. Not sure exactly what that means, but here we are.
That type of criticism could have come before when we did the script
walkthrough. Yeah, that's all right.
That's cool.
Today's question is one that creeps up on almost all of us. How do you keep training when everything hurts? If you've got multiple injuries, movement restrictions, or nagging pain that never fully clears and you're tired of guessing what's okay and what's not, this podcast is for you. 75 hard update really quick.
Oh, yeah.
What are you, 5 weeks?
5 weeks in.
Almost halfway?
We're closing in halfway, so body feels pretty good. I actually just did a max out yesterday and hit some really good numbers for me. Haven't done that much probably since college, maybe pre-COVID times.
Nice.
Which is not the same year. So pre-COVID was not college time for me. I don't know why I said it that way.
Why did you put those together?
I have no idea. Those are not equal time distances. So
yeah.
It's been a bit.
Probably like a 10-year gap. Honestly.
Yeah. I was pretty happy. I got up 347 for my 1 rep max.
It's a weird number. Were you putting 1 pound plates on?
I know. No, it's just I didn't want to do a single rep max. I did 315 3 times.
Oh.
So I did a 3 rep max.
So you lied to me earlier.
No, I did. That's my max, my estimated max.
Estimated max. You didn't actually do it. Okay, I can do 315 for 3.
He does 315 for lunges.
Oh, wow. All righty. Well,
I mean, that was a really weird way to go. Very dismissive of a good number I got, but that's okay. We're supportive here.
Well,
that's cool.
An estimated is not doing it. When we talked earlier, thought you actually squatted 347. And then when you said it just now, I was like, that's a weird number. It's because you were lying.
So just remember, you can always choose to be positive or negative. Alex is choosing to be negative right now.
My life mantra, attitude is a choice. Chose to have a negative attitude there.
Yeah. Call him Negative Nancy. Good job.
Anyway, so today we're talking about the body inventory. And this is not how many bodies you've caught. This is how to keep training when everything hurts.
That's so inappropriate. Dude.
I was talking about catching bodies like our reference to getting kills on the volleyball court.
Where are you?
I think you went a different way with that.
Unbelievable. Okay. What's the question again?
Why do we need something like a body inventory, and what problem is everyone trying to solve?
Well, the body inventory in the way that we're describing it is basically figuring out what things are actually bothering you. Most people have symptoms. They're walking around with things that they call stiffness or tightness that's actually pain, or they have stuff that they've just basically completely worked around that they don't even recognize as actually an issue at this point because they think it's normal to feel terrible. These compensations that you have, they're just hiding dysfunctions that just make you really, really fragile. And the idea around the body inventory is just that you approach how you actually feel with your eyes wide open and do not mask actual problems that are currently happening because you just manage them really well and that you think they're normal when they're actually not normal.
So this is like an injury tally.
Yeah.
You're making tally marks of your injuries.
You're making tally marks. You're building awareness about how you actually feel. And it is fascinating when I'm having a conversation with someone and their compensations and the ways that they've learned to almost not lie to themselves isn't the right way to say it, but they've minimized a very significant issue so much and they've buried it so far down and built so many compensations around it that they forget that it's a real problem. It is fascinating to walk somebody through a body inventory where they think they have one problem because they have one problem. They almost judge the singular problem that's so bad they can't do everything in their life anymore. And then what'll come up is they also have, oh yeah, I have headaches every other week, or my back is always tight. And they'll say it. It's always kind of funny too. They'll say it in a way where I'm the one being ridiculous. Well, my back hurts. Like whose back doesn't
You
hurt?
idiot.
Yeah, it's like no, you're the one that that actually is a problem that you should think about. Maybe we make that better, but we convince ourselves it's normal and it's not normal.
One thing that recently came up is RIP Hulk Hogan. I was listening to something about his recent passing, and he had had like over 30 surgeries. And so I would imagine that his body inventory or injury tally was just ridiculous
Yeah,
from all of his years of professional wrestling.
that is something that he and I bonded on before he just ripped apart my new one rep max estimation. Was that we both watched Hulk Hogan growing up.
Yeah, I'd imagine lots of folks in their late 30s were probably enamored by Hulkamania at one point.
Yeah, a lot of people died last week. Ozzy Osbourne and the guy
Yeah.
from Cosby's.
Wow. Sad week.
Sad week.
Anyway, attitude is a choice, so let's move forward in a positive fashion if we can. You said people mix up pain threshold and pain tolerance. What would you say is the difference there, and why does that matter?
Individuals will come in and they think that they'll say that they have a high pain threshold, but they don't. The longer that you have pain, the lower your threshold becomes. So
You've kind of made fun of me for
yes,
this and saying that when I consider an injury minor, you might have a different
yes,
description of it.
yeah. Well, and I think it's important to remember is that you start to when I say your threshold lowers, it's the same way that when we say threshold for the muscle lowers, you cramp easier. When your threshold for pain lowers, it doesn't mean that you all of a sudden became mentally weak. It means that you've primed your whole body to basically experience pain. And that's very different than tolerance. So pain tolerance is how much can you handle and deal with before you stop doing whatever it is that's hurting you, right? So threshold, if the threshold lowers, it just means, and your tolerance stays the exact same, it just means that you've gotten better at feeling more crappy from more things. And it's really critical to understand the difference. We want your threshold for pain to be as high as it possibly can before you even sense symptoms. And I think it's one of the rare times where the definition does really matter because the fact that they are two separate problems. Like one is we don't want everything causing you to feel terrible. That means the threat detection system is too high. It's like on red alert, everything triggers your pain system, which we don't want that to happen.
That's me.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it is kind of crazy, isn't it? It could, don't you think it's a little bit counterintuitive that you have become more easily triggered to have symptoms?
I'm just afraid that like any part of my body's going to explode at any given moment.
I think the visuals that you throw out there with explosions in the body, there's a really famous pain group. I'm not sure if I should say really before that, the way I just did, but there's a famous group of researchers that talk about danger in me and using terminology like the way he did that's very descriptive and basically brings to mind his Achilles tendon exploding, for example. Those things actually lower the threshold for him to experience pain.
Is that a good thing?
It's not a good thing. No. It's we would rather him say things like, I know that I'm pushing my boundaries, but I know that I can handle any injury that basically comes my way. I don't know. I'll have to think about how do we make it so you don't use dynamite references to your body.
I think it's because my calf did actually explode. It was like it sounded like a firework went off in the gym when I tore my calf.
Did anybody else hear it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Several people were like, "Well, what was that?" It's
Yeah.
like, well, that was the inside of my leg.
Trying to go on the outside. Yeah. Anytime that anything inside the body tries to come outside, that's always it's a bad side effect. But you are going to be more prone to feeling symptoms sooner. And it's just important to recognize
Because of like the mindset piece of that.
it's because your pain is one of the rare things in your body sensory wise where the more you have it, the better your body gets at sensing it. So for
That makes
example,
sense.
if you walk into a room and somebody's making food and you smell it, over a period of time, have you noticed how you don't really smell it as intensely?
Sure.
That's called accommodation. Your brain accommodates to the sensory experience. Your your brain and your body does not accommodate to pain in the same way. So it actually sensitizes. So the sensitization process happens at multiple levels from the peripheral nervous system all the way through to your central nervous system. And at each level, the signal to be sent to your brain to be interpreted as pain gets easier to be sent. And that means that the threshold of stimulus, what it takes for something to be triggered as a painful experience for you, lowers. And the more often you have pain and the more often you allow the same pain signal to be sent, the better your brain gets at wiring it in so that the signal gets sent easier, faster, even more. So less stimulus sends more signals.
I think I just turned that on in my brain in like the last year because really before this year, I didn't think about pain at all. I
Yeah.
just pushed through and probably destroyed myself
You,
even further.
so there, even there, once again, the destroyed part, right? So even the words he uses, like those are pieces of his threshold lowering. And so we'll talk him out of saying that. My experience when I sensitized was right after I quit playing football. And it was weird how many things would trigger my symptoms. I mean, like the first time that I had where I got nervous about something and my leg felt more painful, like those types of like weird, oh man, now I'm feeling pain in my leg. That has nothing to do with any loading activity I did to it. Yeah, it's just my threshold got really lowered for what it takes to hurt me.
And I think pain for me just makes me more nervous now that like something worse is going to happen, even though the likelihood of those is probably not super high. I just get nervous that, oh, my shoulder hurts. Is my arm going to fall off? My knee hurts. Is my something going to explode in my knee? I'm going to keep using those
I
references.
know. I can tell
Just
you
to
now
piss you off.
you're just coming at me hard.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that's why the body inventory is actually quite useful. Is it helps to put strong plans around what things make you nervous, and the more often that you actually apply strategies that make it feel better to make it so that you actually don't have these signals that make you feel that your body's about to explode and break down. That you're doing all these things that are therapeutic, that you understand what stuff triggers it, that allows you to have control over it versus what I think is the more typical thing, which is either avoidance or compensation.
So, what exactly is a body inventory? Is it something you're writing down and physically tracking, or just thinking about? Fill me in.
Can I add one more thing to the?
No.
So,
Okay, I'm gonna do it anyway.
I'm going to do it the other way. I forgot to say this, but most people have low threshold, and then they develop high tolerance, which then means they're fragile, and you'll stubbornly do activities that still hurt you. And so the idea
Are you
is,
calling me out?
I'm calling you a fragile snowflake.
Fragile.
You're a fragility. And so the we don't want to stay in a fragile state. And so what we'd rather have is a threshold to be higher and to have a game plan around it so that you feel good all the time. So you're not fragile, you're resilient.
I want to be a weapon.
Weapons are always resilient.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you had a weapon that as soon as you like tried to use it, it just broke apart? Nobody would be afraid of that weapon.
Like made of Legos.
You're a Lego weapon. We're going to move you from Legos to steel.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right. So,
what is a body inventory? It is
all right.
not catching bodies.
It is not catching bodies or hitting spikes. There you say it, hitting spikes.
Love your volleyball references.
Not hitting spikes. Okay, so I always think it's around 5 questions. I'm just going to label them real quick or lay them out. First question is what and where do you feel it? So what are you feeling and where do you feel it?
Well, my knee, my shoulder, my back, my calf, and my hip.
So 5 spots. So he has 5 areas. Only those 5?
Right now, yeah.
Okay. So those are current ones that he has. Now, the second level of that is if you look at the last 2 to 3 years, does that encompass
At my rest.
all the rest? Yeah, so six. Is there any of them out of those that beyond those six that you've also dealt with but gone past in the last 2 to 3 years?
A little bit of ankle, a little bit of neck. Am I missing anything? I mean, it's pretty much my whole body at this point. So
Eight. So eight of them. So he has 8 areas that we would want to think of and just label, make them very clear. The idea.
hamstring.
So
Like
there's nine.
I kind of broadened that with the hip. The hip is like everywhere around that area.
I find it fascinating how often when I've done this, how many of them I forget about because if especially if it's a one-off event, I'm less concerned about one-off events. I'm really concerned about any issue that persisted more than a week, that actually modified how you had to live your life. Those are big ones that you want to make sure are down. But if it's happened more than once, absolutely has to be down. And that's even if it goes past several years. Like if you had something that really hurt you for a really long period of time and limited your activity, I would include those on there, even if you're not currently struggling with it.
Tricep, elbow,
Wow.
ankle.
So that's 10. So we're at 10. That's great. So Alex has 10 issues on the body inventory. Please let us know and comment if you beat the 10. Because if you beat 10, that's great job.
I've been spiking volleyballs for a long time, so
He's been hitting those spikes.
Pretty stop. Pretty normal to have a probably a large inventory the longer that you've been playing sports.
Hitting spikes, catching pancakes.
Pancake is a real volleyball term.
I just heard that the other day.
Did you?
I did. I was like actually pretty pumped to use it.
Did somebody get hurt pancaking?
They did. They got pancaked.
That's not how it works, but okay.
All right. So now you have the list of stuff. You can just tell from spending maybe 30 extra seconds and actually sitting with the question. Alex came up with 5 more areas. You want this to be actually exhaustive. It is more useful to have more things than to skip things at this phase. Cool. Number 2 is what triggers it, meaning what causes it to happen. Now, when I ask this question to people, oftentimes they're not sure. So let's just say one of them. Do you know what triggers? Pick one injury.
Calf.
Okay. Do you know what triggers the calf?
Playing sports for a long time, like in one setting.
Okay.
So if I play 2 volleyball matches, usually as I get close to the end of the second match is when my calf starts to get angry.
That's not bad. He's able to load it at a pretty high level, and you just want to know, okay, I can play this, I can do this, and this is what the result is going to be, because then you can start to build your plan around it. Are there any other triggers to it? Anything else that triggers it?
Not really.
Are there any interactions?
Probably with my back,
right? So him driving to Phoenix, which we've already talked about, and then playing, doesn't that typically cause a worse response?
Yes, but I've done that twice in the past 2 weeks, and it surprisingly wasn't that bad.
Means he's managing it dramatically better. In this situation, when we're doing the body inventory, at least list interactions, things that you've caught like that before, because it's just useful to remember, because you might have a flare up and totally forget that aspect of what we figured out.
Did I forget shoulder in my body inventory?
He definitely didn't. I don't think he said shoulder. So we're up to 11 now.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's it's funny because he's just a walking injury, but just spending some time on this, you're going to remember things that, why didn't you say shoulder right off the bat?
Because it hasn't been bothering me recently.
Boom. Yeah. Right. So when you're not feeling some of it, it's like it doesn't exist anymore. That's why you want to explicitly state everything and spend some time actually looking through what things actually have been hurting you. You may add to the body inventory multiple times over the course of like a month to 2 months, but you want to have it every single one. I want all of them on there.
And how did my wrist not come up in the first 5? That's just
means it's probably feeling better, or that's how your brain works.
Yeah. I don't want to think about it, because when it hurts, it hurts.
Well, and it's kind of scary. It's probably it's the one that probably links with where you started to feel less confident in your body.
Yeah. No, 100%, because I couldn't be as athletic for those 8 or 9 months while I was rehabbing. Had to be super cautious and I think it has given my body a caution response.
It totally does. And you'll find that there's ones that are like keystones like that. Mine's my kind of ankle slash neuropathy that it can trigger a whole bunch of other things when it gets triggered. So I have a much cleaner, stronger plan that's very explicit whenever I trigger those symptoms. He probably needs something like that just to literally calm his brain down around his wrist. So okay, so I'll go over the first two again. So you want to be really clear on what and where you feel it, and then what triggers it, and you want to be pretty in depth on it. You want to include things that you've learned, even if at that current time you're not feeling it. Three is, what are your key signs? Now, key signs is a term that Alex and I use a lot. The team at SPC uses a lot. It's not really used by anyone else that I know of, but a key sign is just something that you're going to use as a check that can cause symptoms that are either the symptom, we call it a concordant sign, causes what makes you feel like it causes the actual thing, the symptom that you describe as pain or is hurting and limiting you, or is in some way related to it. The most common one would be you may have a back issue, and it's after he plays volleyball, he feels his back, but he also can check before he plays volleyball, his toe touch, low back extension, side to side bending. If those feel stiff, we know that he's going to then have pain. But if he can make the stiffness go away, he won't have pain after he plays. So that's like a beautiful key sign to monitor and manage for back pain, for example. So it doesn't have to actually cause them like the actual pain. It just has to be something that lets you know how your body's responding to activity.
And I've been using that one for my wrist a lot. Wrist extension, rapid extension is one where like I can check pretty easily before I play, and I'll be able to tell like, okay, it's going to hurt pretty bad today. Not going to stop me from playing, but at least I'll know if it's going to hurt or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually fantastic. And he gets to make that decision, but there's also other things that he could do. For example, is, hey, this is feeling nasty. I'm going to tape my wrist so that I can't go into extension. Key signs allow you to make strategic decisions right before the activity.
And I've been taping my wrist more recently because it's just been hurting more recently, but I've also been pushing it more recently. So
probably hitting harder.
Yeah.
Hitting harder. And I mean, honestly, one of the reasons his shoulder probably doesn't hurt as much is he's probably not compensating at his shoulder to protect his wrist anymore. So like that'd be my first 2 cents would be, okay, he's making adjustments where he's not protecting the wrist because his confidence is going up. But we don't want to forget that he's had a shoulder issue.
Yep.
Cool. Key signs are tricky to figure out on your own. If you're not sure, go back and listen to our episode on tissues. I believe we described how the feels, just depending on what tissue is involved, and key signs, possible key signs for it. Range of motion testing of the segment, whatever thing hurts you, is one of the easiest. Number 4 is, what have you tried for it? And did it make you better?
That's one, at least for my wrist, I've been struggling with because nothing really makes it better right now.
Protection.
Yeah. So like trying to avoid the motion that hurts it is one thing. But with almost every other injury I've had, I've been able to find something pretty specifically that can make it feel better, at least in the moment or afterwards. For a while, tractioning my wrist was kind of the one thing that helped, but I think as I'm progressing, it's becoming less effective. So we've been brainstorming a lot, me and Sarah, trying to figure out what will make it feel better in the moment. And unfortunately, we haven't come up with anything in the last couple of months. It's overall feeling better, which is great. It generally doesn't hurt every single day. It only hurts on days when I play or when I do some specific upper body movements.
So when you say it's not getting better, it's in the activity, it's not getting better. And then you can't make it feel better in the moment.
Right.
And then afterwards it recovers faster.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a good thing for us to note. So overall, his response is dramatically improving. He's doing more, protecting it less. And where he's working through is we should see continued progression of his tissue capacity. But if we don't, then we need to do more, maybe even limit activity. But he's not going to do that. So as long as we continue to see him march forward, you may not be able to fully reduce the pain. And that's going to be something just to recognize. As long as you see forward movement, it's improving. But if it's not, then something is off. And that's what you want to note. So he already clearly has a game plan around it. They're trying to find things that make it so it feels better in the moment. But progression-wise, he's handling more and more and more, it's not impacting his day in the same way. He also doesn't have the nerve pain anymore.
A
So there's still a
little
nerve
bit.
piece.
That'll sound really good. The little
Yeah. You just want to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the fun part with what I find with my job is I'm okay with there being a period of time where we're just figuring stuff out because everybody has an individual experience. If he wasn't playing volleyball, his wrist would not be an issue anymore. But he does play volleyball. He literally hits and blocks. If you had to pick the worst thing to try to do to make this thing feel better, you would pick blocking a volleyball.
That was the first thing that
Yeah.
really triggered me when I came back. So
Yeah. He's taking an injured structure that had to be stiffened to allow it to heal. He's now having to put it under stresses that basically target what he had to do to make it heal. So that's a special case, but you want to note special cases like that because you're going to have very similar ones. Think about any sustained back position. So if you're doing anything where you have to stay in a bent position or stay seated for a period of time with like work, if your back is sensitive to sustained flexion that happens with seated, like that's a hard thing to overcome if your job is 90% in a seated position.
yeah, and I try to alternate between sitting and standing throughout the day, and my watch is constantly like, "You've been sitting for 15 minutes. Get up."
Get up.
And sometimes I just ignore it.
I love it. So the big part on this one though is just note if it actually works, and if it doesn't, and if it does, how long does it last for? For example, I hate stretching. The stretching piece, it'll last for 5 to maybe 20 minutes. It'll feel better, and then it's just the same or worse. That's not a solution. That's a clear sign that it's not actually working. It means you need to look for other tools. And once again, I am ultimately pragmatic on what tool you use. I don't really care, but you need to make sure you're honest as if it's working or not.
Right.
Okay. Number 5 is, are you compensating around it? So what also happens, let's say, it doesn't bother me anymore, but then I work through your day with you and you have basically taken out a whole bunch of stuff that you actually would like to get back to, but you act like those things don't exist anymore.
I've been doing a ton of that.
Tell me more.
Hip, knee, maybe a little bit of back, wrist. I mean, I'm having to compensate in a ton of my lifts right now and trying to push myself through some of those compensations more recently in the last like week or so. But yeah, I just fell into the injury black hole over the last like month or so and just trying to get myself out of it.
I always think with this, that's where I think use of bracing is super useful because it allows you to go back and challenge the movements that would normally bother you. But it's more, once again, label what you're doing. So if you're compensating in those areas, once you start to feel completely better, and say you're feeling 100% better, but you keep in the compensations, that's the error. So compensations in the moment, not a big deal, but you want to know what you're compensating around. My mind always goes to people when they have a back issue, and then I find that they've now used only the standing desk. Yeah, you've managed to trigger, but you should also be able to sit down throughout the day. And if you have to completely avoid that, you haven't actually managed your problem. And I'm not saying you need to go down and sit now, but what the heck is causing it so that you can't tolerate sustained flexion? We got to figure that out.
Right.
That's where a lot of these like solutions that people have, I'm not against the solution, but if your solution is a compensation, we need to know what it is because it means you haven't actually fixed that problem. You've just avoided it.
Never a good idea. We're about midway through here. If you haven't done so yet, throw us a subscription. We love creating this content, and the more subscribers we have, the more time we can commit to the podcast and Past Your Prime. Before we move forward, quick recap. Most of us aren't aware of how much we've adapted around our pain. I am guilty as charged. We confuse pain tolerance and pain threshold, and that keeps us training in a fragile system. The body inventory gives you a clear system to stop guessing and start managing your body. Those 5 questions are: what and where do you feel it? What triggers it? What are your key signs? What have you tried and did it actually work? And are you compensating around it? Next up, we're going to walk through how to actually use this body inventory. I'm sure some of my own examples will come into play. And what do you do once you see the patterns? Let's walk through a real example. I'll take one of mine. How about my wrist? How would we go through the inventory for my wrist?
I like it. I was wondering. So, how did you pick the top one out of your 11? Because you picked one that you literally forgot about.
I mean, it is the most significant. It is certainly the most significant and the one that actually gives me the most pain.
Okay.
Like from a number scale, like
Severity.
I will get to like a 7 or 8 out of 10 on the pain, only for like 5 or 10 seconds. But when it hurts, it really hurts.
Okay. So let's walk through it, and then we can start to strategize on what he's going to be attempting next. Because this is what it is it gives you an outline of what the person currently is experiencing, what Alex is actually experiencing. And then from there, we can put a more clean and clear strategy that's eyes wide open. Are we doing a compensation or are we doing a plan? But it's going to be very, very clear, and then we can test it. So what exactly are you feeling? What's the exact problem number one?
I would say, I mean, it's kind of that nerve pain, but it's just really significant pain right in the area where I broke my bone in my wrist.
Okay. And then what causes it? What's the mechanism that makes it really hurt like that?
So it's usually extension, but grip is also the one that most recently has been hurting a lot. So I've recently been integrating pull-ups into my workouts. And after I release my grip from a pull-up, it just like shoots just some pretty extreme pain through my wrist. And once again, goes away within, I'd say, no more than 10 seconds. But just that one little blip of releasing my grip from a pull-up.
So body weight load.
Oh yeah.
So if you use less load with a grip, does it hurt like that?
Yes. So like something as simple as spraying a like a suntan lotion bottle can make it hurt, not as significantly as gripping a pull-up. Putting on my socks when having to like pull a tight sock up or something like that. There's a lot of weird little triggers that will cause it. So it's anywhere from like full on hand grip to like even like a pinching grip can just give me a lot of pain.
Okay. Do you have anything that makes that feel better?
As of right now, no.
Is that new?
No.
That's been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Can you grab my hand real quick? Does that hurt?
No.
So it's not
it's like a specific type of grip, yeah.
Yeah. So
and like holding and maybe pressure against it, but then also like single finger. And it's starting to lessen over the past like maybe 2 weeks, but before that it was always pretty significant.
Okay.
And I think once again that pain threshold is just getting higher.
Like before you actually it's interpreted as pain, you're able to do more.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a creep in what you can do before you start to experience pain. Are we also seeing a top end improvement of like what you can actually do?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I probably would not have been able to do a pull-up 2 months ago.
Okay. So that's good. What he's laying out, and I think this is the key part. If we wanted to, we could say, Alex, we don't want you to have any pain. I think that would be a mistake. I think that he's going to be experiencing pain with your injury.
Right.
Okay. So what we're looking at, kind of the statement of, is a juice worth the squeeze? Like, does he really want to push it this way, knowing it's going to hurt? Like, is it worth it? I think Sarah and him are making a decision that it is, as long as it's continuing to progress the way it's progressing. Okay, so we know what it is. We know heavy gripping triggers it, and extension range of motion, rapidly going into extension, especially blocking a volleyball, hitting a volleyball.
Not as much, but mostly like a hand pass or dig is the one that where it's like very quickly gets pushed with pressure against it, and then I'm having to extend out really quickly to pass the volleyball. And that's one that I can do, but I know it hurts, so I avoid it, which makes me make some poor volleyball decisions on the court where historically I would just pass with my hands, it'd be completely fine. There'd be no issue. But now I've been avoiding that, and just once again, same thing in the last like month or two, been getting back into testing it. And I still avoid it sometimes. I avoided it maybe like once or twice last night when I could have just very easily made a good play, and I ended up making a bad play because I was trying to compensate around it.
Got it. So hitting a dig and catching a pass.
Stop.
All right. Okay. So we got the triggers. Your key sign.
I don't. Yeah, I've not like pushing into extension is probably my best key sign. but it's hard to get like that rapid motion. So like now if I push into extension at the very end, it still hurts, but that's just going to go away with more and more time.
So that one's basically become not useful.
Yes and no, but it's just like it's always there. So it's not like one of those where sometimes I do it and it doesn't hurt. It's just always hurt for the last.
But gripping is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So gripping is a key sign that's clearly one that I would start to play around with more, because it sounds like you've had a transition from extension being as useful.
Yeah.
So that'd be a good one. Like, do you check it before you play?
Well, the structure just wasn't strong enough to like do these heavy gripping things, and now they are. So I think it's just like I'm exploring just different motions or different gripping. I was doing dumbbell bench before, and that wasn't too bad because it was kind of above me and place. But then when I'm doing like rows were one thing that like when I first started doing some upper body stuff after recovering from the wrist, rows were like a little bit painful. So I kind of moved away from them and am getting back into them. So like I knew that they were a trigger, but also was avoiding them a little bit, I guess.
So you can tell he doesn't have a clean key sign. That's one that needs to be more fully developed. He has one that's working. And commonly, when you start to transition to a different thing, you can get a different one. I think the grip one, just because it's obviously a cause, finding a low enough level thing that doesn't quite cause it, or you can tell if it's just stiff and it's going to lead to it feeling worse, might be a cleaner one for him. But that's one that you can tell his is complex. And I think you and Sarah are already working through getting a more well-developed key sign. So you want to write both of those down. So his would be extension, and then the other one would be gripping of some level. After you get through that, he's already said that he has a plan. It's improving, but he doesn't have a way that if it hurts in the moment, makes it feel better. So you would also write that down. And then you'd write down the things that you've tried that maybe make a little bit of improvement or make no improvement whatsoever, so that you don't use those as part of your strategy.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds easy. Okay. Final one is compensations. He just listed a whole grip of them. Passes that he's avoiding, digs that he's not hitting, pancakes he's not making.
I did have a really sick dig last night. Diving, ran fully across the court, dove, one-handed it.
Nice. Did it hurt?
No.
Yeah. That's a big deal. So that would be one of the ways that you write it down. You can see that we went through like a whole bunch of questions on it. His is complex. His is one that if you have something similar, you should absolutely be working with a professional to help pull it apart and pull it back together. But that'd be the start. And that's one injury for you. You would do the same thing for every single one.
It's going to be a long list and take a long time for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things that once you have it down, it becomes much more useful to how you exercise and you stay active. It also allows you to look for where there's interactions between previous injuries and current injuries.
Seems like a bunch of mine are probably linked.
100% they are.
Yeah.
I mean, your shoulder, your wrist,
right.
Your elbow, your wrist, your shoulder, your back, your shoulder, and your wrist. Like you can talk about like the kinetic keychain, the kinetic chain that we've talked about before. The kinetic keychain.
I love that. Yeah, I just it's on my backpack.
Yeah. Oh God, I love it. PT humor.
That was not funny to me, but you laughed pretty good there.
Oh, whatever.
Anyway, so a bunch of those injuries are old. What about old injuries? Do we need to include those in the inventory? I think no.
I know that you're messing with me, but yes, that absolutely should also go down on there. Partially because your old injuries are going to be the next injuries that you're most likely to have.
No, thank you.
But that's the typical piece. And if you've already gotten to where you feel good with it, you should know what made it feel better in the past. And that's where people can bring that back home plans and things and tools that they've used before that they may have stopped doing, but they have it on their inventory to go, oh, that's what I did when I started to notice this before. Oh, that was my key sign. Oh man, my key sign's positive, even though I don't feel that bad yet. I'm going to start doing my home plan again.
I have to reference my old home plans all the time now because I've had so many injuries over the last year where I'm like, oh man, my adductor's hurting again. What did I do for that?
It makes it so much more useful.
Yeah.
And it makes it so that previous work that you've done on your body doesn't have to go to waste. It's not like all of a sudden it disappears. But if you've had recurrent back pain or recurrent hip pain or shoulder pain, like those are big ones that you just want to have a very clean, clear plan laid out for if it comes back, because it's most likely going to come back.
And yeah, I'd say about half of my injuries have crept back. at least in the last year. And luckily, the other ones have stayed away, and I hope they continue to do so.
Yeah, one of the other things I like to do is once you get the whole thing laid out, it allows you to pick a warm up and a cool down along with the key signs that you're going to regularly recheck. You can pull it all together and make it efficient. Oftentimes, people don't use their warm up to address previous issues in a really systematic format. And the idea being you're not looking for an endless warm up, you're looking for a targeted warm up. So you may have one or two things that touch on multiple areas. Like, so for example, if his hip bothers him and we know it's his TFL overfiring and causing some of his symptoms, we know that gets triggered because his glutes get shut off because of his back. Okay, well, what we can do is we can traction the back, target the glutes. And we always do that, even if he's not actively having hip pain, because that's the mechanism that's most often going to be driven by his back leading to his hip issue.
My warm up had gotten just way too long a couple of months ago, and so I had to tone it down because I was having a warm up for 45 minutes to hit every little injury that I had. So
Mistake.
I had to be a little bit more strategic. They were all good things that like one might say that I needed to do to like work on my TFL, work on my hamstring, work on my calf, work on my shoulder, work on my back. But it was like, all right, when am I going to work out?
What I like to think of is, so it's your left hip, right?
Yes.
Left hip, and the area where he gets hurt is his right arm, right?
Yeah.
So we know that when you're thinking of human body, you always think of cross body patterning. If he's weak in his left glute, it's going to drive more issues at his right shoulder. And so we also know that he's going to be more prone to producing most of the force at his arm instead of using the connect chain effectively. So then I would be thinking of the warm up to be targeting that. So he may be doing single leg bridge, really focus on single leg bridge on the left leg and really targeting that. And he may look at some of his warm up, but he also may say, okay, when I'm doing an exercise that's going to target that area, I just superset it with an exercise to make sure that my arm is functioning well. So like he's doing something where you're doing
rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixed with like your pulls.
Right.
Right. Like, so you can also look at it as a superset, ability to basically add another exercise in that makes it feel better when you're doing the exercises.
What's the end goal here? What do you do once you've tallied up your injuries?
Yeah, the first part is just it brings you awareness. Just be aware of how your body actually feels, because most of us are actively avoiding being inside our own body.
I feel like I've become hyper aware, which is probably not super beneficial, but at the same time, I'm able to do a better job managing all of my problems.
That's actually a good point. And that's so being aware that have you had an active change in your threshold? Your threshold has lowered, and we don't want to continue having that happening. So we want to be aware of where you're currently at. So if all of a sudden it seems like everything hurts you, you're always worried about your body exploding. If you're using terms like exploding, you are probably sensitized, which we want to be aware of it because it changes a little bit of the pathway we want to go down. Number two is it helps you decide on and be eyes wide open on compensations you do want to have, modifications to training you do want to make, and additions to your warm up or to your supersets within your own workouts.
And yeah, I've had to implement those definitely more recently because I continue to internally combust.
Good Lord. I love it. That's so stupid. It does also allow you to go, okay, what do I really need to be monitoring right now? What needs to be monitored? Hey, what feels stable? And what do I need help with? And being very clear, actually, I just want to monitor this. Everything's stable. I'm going to focus on this one area, really build it up. Or, man, if you're going through this and you have no game plan whatsoever, you need to get help on it. That's the honest truth. That you go through the inventory, you have no idea what your key sign is. You don't have any idea what's triggering it. And you see that you've compensated in your entire daily life and you're actively not doing things. That is a serious issue that you don't want to just live with. Means you're fragile and you're currently avoiding the life you want to live.
And you're not going to fix yourself any quicker.
No. And then the next one would be clear warm up, clear cool down. And if those things are in place, are you recovering well? Then do you have recovery weeks built into your workout plan? Or are you just running yourself ragged all the time?
Running myself ragged all the time.
Check. That's not working for him. We got to make sure that it gets better. And then I think the other one is I'm not saying you're going to fix everything. You're going to still have stuff. I was talking with somebody earlier this week, and they were talking about how one of their kids had gotten hurt, and it's something that they had healed so quickly. Whereas if it happened to me or to this person, we would still have it 6 months later. So if you're not a young mutant that can just heal from anything, you're not going to feel better immediately. And it may be a long term fix that you're just managing. It allows you to pick what thing you want to actually focus on.
The fountain of youth is not real.
It's not real. It's not real. And when we say past your prime, it doesn't mean you can't still focus. It just means when you're past that point where everything just kind of feels better, you actually have to work to make yourself be able to function at a high level. You just have to have your eyes open to what you're actually dealing with at this moment. The inventory helps with that.
If you're feeling broken, limited, or your body just can't keep up anymore, this episode was your permission slip to stop guessing. Make an informed decision.
Mission slip.
Yeah, I like the school reference. The body inventory is not a gimmick. It's a way to take your history, your pain, and your patterns seriously and finally train with a plan. We'll throw the 5-question checklist in the show notes down below. As always, you can find more episode resources and tools at pastyourprime.com. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. We'd certainly appreciate it. And I think we'll see you on the next episode.
PYP, baby.
Peace.